Hi, and welcome back to Math with Business Applications. I'm Amy Fuchsteiner, your instructor. This is Simple Interest and Notes. We are currently working on how to discount a note before maturity. I couldn't say that. Maturity. This is part 2 of the Chapter 10, Section 3 presentation, Discounting a Note Before Maturity. So, in order to do that, let's go through the goals for this particular presentation. We want you to be able to work through the process of discounting a note before maturity. That means calculating the maturity value of the note and determining time in the discounted period of the note, whether that time is in ordinary days, exact days, weeks, or months. We want you to be able to calculate the bank discount and calculate the proceeds of the note. Both of these things we did in the last section, in the first part of Chapter 10, Section 3 as well. We want you to be able to understand who would use this process of discounting a note before maturity and when they might do it. So to begin with, I'm going to start with a story. We have in this story the first person, the business person, the business corporation, Jiangsu Sunshine Company Limited. They are a manufacturer of clothing items. They work specifically in U.S. and China markets, and they have asked Eastern Silk Mills, who is their provider. Eastern Silk Mills does just that, makes silk cloth fabric. And so Jiangsu Sunshine Company has asked Eastern Silk Mills for a loan in order to be able to order silk from them. In fact, Jiangsu Sunshine Company has agreed to pay Eastern Silk Mills $93,000 at 8.1% interest in the next 120 days. So essentially, Jiangsu Sunshine Company has taken out a promissory note from Eastern Silk Mills in order to be able to buy their product. Right? In 120 days, the maturity value of this note would be 93,000 times 1 plus 0.081 times 120 over 360, or $95,511. In 120 days, Jiangsu Sunshine Company will owe Eastern Silk Mills that $95,511. From the perspective of Eastern Silk Mills, that is not a debt, it is an asset, because Eastern Silk Mills has money coming into their bank account. Let's make that clear. That part hasn't always made sense to me. It took a while for me to wrap my brain around it. But when a business has money coming into them, that is always considered an asset, even if the money coming in is based on a loan that they made to another business. So Eastern Silk Mills sees that money, $95,511, that they loaned out, not as a deficit, not as a bad thing, but as a good thing, because it means there's still money coming to their business, right? So, to recap, in 120 days, Eastern Silk Mills will get $95,511 from Jiangsu Sunshine Company. Now, disaster strikes. Eastern Silk Mills doesn't have the $95,511. But in the meantime, 40 days into this loan, they are sabotaged by PETA for their unethical treatment of silkworms. In order to continue their production, they need an influx of cash. They don't have anything with which to use as collateral to present to a bank until they remember that Jiangsu Sunshine Company owes them $95,511. They can use that money as collateral for a loan. So, Eastern Silk Mills takes this loan to the East West Bank and asked East West Bank, will you take over this loan? In another 80 days, Jiangsu Sunshine Company is going to pay $95,511. And if they pay that to you, right? How much of that would you be willing to give to us? If you take over this loan, you will get $95,511 from Jiangsu Sunshine Company. How much of that would you be willing to give to us? And East West Bank says, we'll discount that note. In other words, we will purchase that note from you. But we're going to do it at a bank discount rate of 12.4%. So they're charging a much higher interest rate than Eastern Silk Mills does. And the interest is only on the remaining 80 days in the loan. Now, because East West Bank is going to get $95,511, they take their interest based on the face value of that loan. If Eastern Silk Mills agrees, they take the proceeds from this discount and are out of the loan business altogether, right? They won't get any money from Jiangsu. Jiangsu will only be sending its money to East West Bank. So how does this work? Well, the bank will keep the bank discount. That's 12.4% of the face value of the loan. So $95,511 times the 0.124 for the remaining time on the loan, which is 80 days. This is a bank discount of $2,631.86. So the bank discount on this note is $2,631.86. The proceeds, the amount of money that Eastern Silk Mills will get, is the difference between the face value of that loan and the bank discount. So we're going to take the $95,511 and subtract the $2,631.86. This gives us $92,879.14. Now, just to be clear, the bank discount goes to the bank. The proceeds go to Eastern Silk Mills. But that $95,511, Jiangsu is also going to pay to the bank. So the bank is going to make money on this. Eastern Silk Mills may gain or lose money. It just depends. The loan was $93,000. They were able to get $92,879.14. So they're a little bit under, but it's not like it's totally a wash. And now they have cash to deal with the sabotage from PETA. The East West Bank took the bank discount of $2,631.86, but they're also going to get paid the $95,511. So they really are coming out ahead. Jiangsu Sunshine Limited Company, they probably know nothing about it. They may have had to have been notified about the change in payment going from Eastern Silk Mills to East West Bank, but they wouldn't necessarily, their totals shouldn't change at all. All right, so this is what happens when you discount a note before maturity. The basic steps here. We want to calculate the maturity value of the note. We've done this formula before. It's the principal times 1 plus the rate times time. We also need to be able to determine the discounted period. Now, that discounted period in the last example was in days, but it could also be in months. There's a specific usage where it's done in weeks. I'll maybe throw a question in there for extra credit, but not requirement. The discount period is the time left on the loan while it's discounted. Okay. We then calculate the bank discount. We assume ordinary interest, and we use the maturity value of that loan because the bank is going to get the maturity value from the original borrower. And then the proceeds of the loan go to the intermediate party. In order to find the proceeds, this is the same. It's the maturity value minus the bank discount. When you discount a note before maturity, it requires a third party to enter into the agreement between the borrower and the lender. We had the panda and the bee, and the panda borrowed money from the bee, but then the bee needed money, so they needed to go to a third party, which is the bank. All right? The bank then purchases that debt, but at a higher interest rate. This is useful because the original lender is able to replenish their cash. They get cash quickly. The third party is able to make a little bit of money. And as we saw with Mr. Panda, he may not even know that any of this occurred. Right? One thing I wanted to talk to you about is how do you know the discount period? So in order to calculate the discount period, let's be clear. The discount period only happens when you sell or transfer a note before maturity. It allows the lender to collect the full or nearly the full debt, and the payee is not affected. So we had 120 days. Those 120 days have two parts. They have the date of the note, which includes the face value of that note. And then we have the maturity date of the note. So day one and 120 days later, we have the maturity value. Because the note was held for 40 days, the end of those 40 days is what we would call the discount date. That's where we start talking about proceeds. Proceeds can start being collected from that date. The 80 remaining days is known as the discount period. So the time remaining on the loan at the point at which they discount it is known as the discount period. I would just like to make clear that this example where I'm doing 120 and 40 and 80 is based on the previous story that I told a little bit earlier, and that the days for the terms of the notes and the discount dates are going to vary according to your problem. This is just a nice little graphic to sort of show you. You start date, you've got the maturity date, and the discount date is going to be somewhere in the middle. Doesn't always split it evenly, but it's going to be someplace in between them. Okay, I have 3 examples, and let's see how quickly. I don't know if I want to go quick. All right, but let's try some of these. Our first example says CI receives a $15,000 promissory note for 150 days at 12% simple interest from one of its customers. At 90 days, CI needs cash, so it discounts the note at a bank at a discount rate of 14%. What are the proceeds CI will receive from the discounted notes? All right, when you're doing proceeds on a discounted note, there are 4 basic steps. The first step is to calculate the maturity value of this individual note. CI received a promissory note for 150 days at 12% simple interest. So we're going to use maturity value of this note. The principal is the $1,500, the rate is 12%, and the time is 150 days out of 360. Multiplying this out, I get $15,750 as the maturity value. So CI is going to be receiving from the original lender $15,750. So that is how much collateral they have, right? At 90 days, however, they need cash. So they're going to take this $15,750 to a bank. Doesn't say what bank, it just says to the bank. And the bank is going to buy them out at 14%, all right? So we need to figure out the number of days left in the discount. If it occurs at 90 days, we need to take the number of days in the maturity, which is 150, and subtract the day at which we had a discount. So we had a discount at 90 days. This leaves us with 60 days left in the discounted period. Okay. Now we're going to use the maturity value and the number of days left in the discount period to calculate the bank discount. And once we have the bank discount, we can get the proceeds. So our bank discount is the maturity value. That's the $15,750 because CI's going to get paid $15,750. So that's what they can take to the bank. So they're going to take the $15,750 to the bank. The bank is going to take 14% off the top for their trouble for the remaining 60 days, only the 60 days that are left. So I've got $15,750 times 0.14 times 60 out of 360, which is $367.50. That means that the proceeds that CI will be able to keep will be the maturity value, the amount they were supposed to get, $15,750, minus the bank discount, the amount the bank is going to take for taking over all of their loan. This gives them proceeds of $15,328.50. Good? Okay, let's try another example. Like I said, I got 3 of them. So second example here. Pinnacle received a $42,000 note at 10.2% simple interest for 95 days from one of its customers. On day 70, Pinnacle discounts the note at Berryville Bank at a discount rate of 15%. All right, so we're going to find the proceeds for Pinnacle. What proceeds will Pinnacle receive? I should probably add that in. What proceeds will Pinnacle receive? 4 main steps. The first is we need to know how much money Pinnacle was supposed to get from the borrower. So we're going to calculate the maturity value of this note. Maturity value is principal times 1 plus rate times time, or 42,000 times 1 plus 0.102, percent is a decimal, times the time of the loan, which is 95 out of 360. When I multiply this through, I get $43,152.6 repeating. Rounding to the nearest penny, I have $43,152.67. This is the maturity value of the loan. If Pinnacle keeps the loan the entire time, that would be how much they would be paid. $43,152.67. But for whatever reason, Pinnacle needs cash. And so they're going to, on day 70, take this $43,152.67 to a bank and say, please take over this loan. The bank needs to know how many days are left in this loan. Well, the number of days in the discount period, the number of days left in the loan from 95 to 70 gives us only 25 days left on the loan. So the bank says, with 25 days left on the loan, we'll take it over, but we're going to take 15% off the top for those 25 days. This is known as the bank's discount. So the maturity value, $43,152.67, times the bank's discounted rate of 15%, 0.15, times the amount of time left in the loan. So $43,152.67 times 0.15 times 25 over 360 gives us $449.51. If we round to the nearest penny, that 506, the 6 would round it up to a 1, and we would have 51 cents. This means that Pinnacle will get what's left of the $43,152 after they take off the $449. So the proceeds would be the maturity value of this loan, the $43,152.67, minus the bank discount of $449.51. Oh, I forgot the 1. Which is $42,703.16. Now, notice Pinnacle had originally loaned out $42,000. They were supposed to get back $43,152 and some change, but what they really are able to recap is $42,703. So they're still made whole. They borrowed out $42K and they still get back $42K plus a little change. All right? The last 2 examples, that's what's happened. They've gotten back all of the original loan plus a little more. Unfortunately, that doesn't always happen. And coming up next, we have an example of that. So, Legacy Lumber receives a $75,000 promissory note at 9.6% interest for 10 months from Z's Construction. After 4 months, the note was discounted at the Key Bank at a discount rate of 18%. What are the proceeds that Legacy will receive? 4 steps. 4 steps in order to find the proceeds from a discounted note. First step, we've got to know how much that note is worth. So we've got to find the maturity value of the note, which is principal times 1 plus RT, or 75,000 times 1 plus 0.096 times 10 out of 12, because this was months. So we need to do 10 out of 12 in terms of months. When I multiply that out, I get $81,000. Doesn't always work to be such a nice number, but this one does, $81,000. All right, so Legacy Lumber has a loan out there for $81,000 and they need cash. So they need to take this $81,000 loan and use it as collateral to get money from a bank. okay, specifically from KeyBank. So the bank's going to ask them how much time is left in the loan. That's known as the discount period. So we're going to find the number of months left in the discount period. Since the maturity was at 10 months and we're discounting this at 4 months, we need the difference between 10 and 4, which is 6 months. So the discount period would be 6 months, or 6 out of 12. The bank will discount it for those 6 months. So now we're going to calculate the amount of that bank discount. The bank discount uses the maturity value of the loan, that's the $81,000, times the discounted rate of 18% for the remaining 6 out of 12 months in the discount period. So 81,000 times 0.18 times 6 out of 12, or $7,290. That means that the proceeds on this particular problem would be the maturity value minus that bank discount, or 81,000 minus the 7,290, giving them $73,710. The bank discount, the amount that Legacy Lumber will get from the bank, is the proceeds. I said it wrong. The proceeds, the amount that Legacy Lumber will get from the bank, is $73,710. Now, take a minute and compare the proceeds to the actual note. Legacy Lumber put out a note of $75,000. So they have loaned out $75,000. They are able to collect $73,710. What do you notice about this? What does it mean? Is there a situation that you can think of when it might be in a business's advantage to discount a note at a bank and actually take less than the worth of that promissory note? All things to think about. So who would do this? Who would discount a note? As we said in the beginning, to recap it, it's going to be people or businesses that need quick cash. Somebody who maybe overextended themselves, gave out too many loans, and then suddenly found themselves in need of cash, right? That's really all we have for this section. It's still a lot. It can still be a lot. So let's wrap this up. Do you feel like you can work through the process of discounting a note before maturity? Do you feel fairly confident that through watching this video or checking the list in the textbook or referring to your notes, you could work through one of these successfully? Do you know that you can calculate the maturity value of the note? Do you have a way to determine the time in the discount period? Do you feel confident in calculating a bank discount or finding the proceeds? And do you understand, have an example of who would use this process and when? All right. There is extra practice in your e-text, Chapter 10, Section 3. I've narrowed it down to just 5-ish problems. There aren't a lot of practice problems in this section, but you can do 16 through 20 and problem 28. If you have the physical copy of the textbook, that extra practice would be on pages 327 through 330. There is a graded assignment. It is on WebAssign, creatively labeled Chapter 10, Section 3, Discounting Notes. I believe it's less than 10 problems, so it is just a few. And as always, if you have any questions or concerns, please contact your instructor, your math support personnel. You can pop into the Math Center. They have help there, or any other tutors or support you may have available to you. We want to see you succeed. We are all here to help. Thank you.